Do you think that you are lucky? Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome back to the Easy English Podcast, the best place to practice your English listening while learning new vocabulary and phrases. I'm your host, Oliver, and it's wonderful to have you here listening to the Easy English Podcast again. Today, we are going to talk about a very beautiful and special word, one which I'm sure that most of you have probably not heard of before. And that word is serendipity. Serendipity. You're probably curious, thinking, what is it? Well, don't worry. Today we are going to find out exactly what serendipity is and how you can have it as well. We're going to look at some examples of serendipity as well. In short, it's like a lucky discovery or a happy accident. Serendipity is that moment when you're looking for one thing, but you find something completely different, but it's much, much better. I'll define it properly in a moment once we go to look at our vocab and a special section. So this episode is going to explain this wonderful, very, very cool concept. And it's going to give you some very famous examples of serendipity. So without further ado, as always, we are going to look at our key vocabulary for the episode. If you're new, this is the part where I give you 5 words that I want you to listen for during the episode. These are key words, usually more difficult words, which I would like you to make sure that you know and learn and practice listening for. But first, recently I checked the statistics of the podcast, the numbers, and what really surprised me is that almost 50% of listeners of the podcast who regularly listen, so every week, are not subscribed or following. If that's you, make sure that you follow and subscribe. It's completely free and it allows you to stay up to date with new content so that you don't miss a topic that you are interested in. Okay, let's look at our vocabulary. The first of our 5 keywords is, of course, serendipity. Serendipity. I'm going to be saying this word a lot. And the definition of serendipity is the occurrence of making fortunate discoveries by accident. So it's what I said before. It's when you discover or you find something by accident. You don't mean to. Like, for example, a scientific discovery, or maybe something in your life that you receive which you did not intend or mean to happen. But I'll explain this in more detail. Just remember that serendipity is one of the words. The second word today is discovery. Discovery. And this is the action of finding something for the first time. And we can use the verb to discover as well. And that is the action as well of finding something for the first time. But the verb is, of course, the process. Our third word today is fortunate. Fortunate. And that means having good luck or being lucky. It's simply another way to say lucky. Fortunate. Our fourth word is accident. Accident. And an accident is an event that happens by chance or without being planned. And our final word, curiosity. Curiosity. And curiosity is a strong desire to know or learn something. So keep these words in your mind as we explore the lucky world of discoveries and serendipity. So what exactly is serendipity? Well, it's about being prepared to notice a lucky discovery. Imagine you drop your car keys on the floor, right? It's something that probably has happened to everyone. But when you bend down to pick them up, so you go down to pick them up, you find a £20 or a $20 note. So you find money that you didn't know that you had. That's a very simple example of sort of everyday serendipity. Serendipity often happens when you are actively doing something, but you are open to a new and unexpected result. The person who experiences serendipity is not just lucky, they're also observant, and they've possibly prepared themselves to be able to have this moment. They have put themselves in a position to have that luck. For example, a scientist who is researching something and then makes a lucky discovery. That is serendipity. Isn't that just luck? What is the difference between serendipity and luck? Let's find out. But first, if you would like more advanced topics like this one, make sure that you're subscribed to the Easy English Patreon. The link is in the description below. On the Easy English Patreon, you get access to the full transcripts, vocabulary lists, and phrasal verbs in each episode, as well as having them ad-free. There are also bonus episodes every week, and you get immediate access to all of the previous bonus episodes, including news in Easy English. At the moment, this is over 40 different episodes. So if you want to support the show, that is the best way to be able to do it. So click the link, the Patreon link in the description, and support Easy English. Okay, so what's the difference between serendipity and luck? This is a great question to ask, and it's probably one that is on some of your minds at the moment. The main difference between serendipity and luck is that with serendipity, there is a small amount of action on your part. So you have to have some action. You have to do something. Luck is when something good happens to you by complete chance, right? So it's total luck or chance. For example, winning the lottery is luck. You didn't do anything special. You just bought a ticket and you were fortunate. You were lucky. It was a good event, but you weren't looking for it. You didn't actually think that you would win, right? Serendipity, on the other hand, is when you're actively doing something. And while you're actively doing something, you make a lucky discovery. It's during the process of doing something. And this discovery is one that you weren't looking for. It is another. Here's a great way to think about this. Luck is finding a $20 bill on the street. You just see it and you go, oh, there's $20 as you're walking. Serendipity might be when you drop your keys on the street and while you're searching for them, you then find a $20 bill. In the second example, your action of looking for your keys led to a much more interesting and unexpected discovery. This is the key difference. So the best way I think to understand this and to look at this is to look at examples of serendipity. So many of the world's greatest inventions and discoveries happened by serendipity. Let's have a look at two famous examples of these. And the first is a huge discovery that changed the world. And this is the discovery of penicillin, which was the first and most important antibiotic drug. So in 1928, a scientist named Alexander Fleming who was from England. He was looking for a cure for a disease. He left his laboratory for a holiday, and when he returned, he saw that some of his old experiments had mold growing on them. So this, like mold, when something is rotten or bad, it grows mold on it. Normally, he would have just thrown them away, but he had curiosity. He noticed that the mold had killed the bacteria around it. This was a completely unplanned discovery. The mold was penicillin, and it became the first and most important antibiotic in the world, and it has saved millions of lives over the years. That is serendipity. Alexander Fleming was looking and researching for something else, and in the process, he discovered something far greater and more important. Let's take a look at another, slightly more recent example from the 1970s, and this is the Post-it note. Post-it note is little squares of paper that you can stick to things. Often we have them at our desks. I don't think I have any here to show you, but they're very common in offices, and you probably have some at home as well. So in the 1970s, a scientist at a company was trying to create a very strong glue for airplanes. He failed. The glue that he made was very weak and could be removed incredibly easily without leaving a mark. Most people would have thought that this was a useless discovery, but a colleague who was a singer in a choir was looking for a way to mark the pages in his songbook without damaging them. He saw the potential in the weak glue. This fortunate mistake led to the invention of the Post-it note, an object that we use every single day in offices and all around the world. Another discovery by serendipity. So these stories, they really do show us that great things can happen when we are open to the unexpected, when we are observant and looking for results perhaps that we don't expect. Just think about how many discoveries have probably not been discovered, I guess, have been missed just because we didn't notice them or we weren't open to the ideas. So how can you invite serendipity into your life? How can you become a serendipitous person? So that's the adjective version, serendipitous, of serendipity. It's not something that you can physically control, but you can create the right circumstances or conditions for it to happen. The first is being curious. There is a reason why most discoveries happen by curious people, by scientists who are curious, by inventors that are curious. The scientist who found penicillin, Alexander Fleming, he had curiosity. He asked why when he saw the mold, instead of just throwing it away. Imagine someone else had just thrown the mold away. It could have taken decades longer for someone to actually discover penicillin. You can practice this curiosity simply by asking questions about the things that you see every day. Just like an episode that I made, I think last week, you can check it out, where it talks about the importance of critical thinking, asking how and why. And asking these questions leads us to more serendipity. The second thing that you can do is be open to new ideas. The Post-it note was created because someone saw the potential in a failed idea, in a failed experiment. Don't always stick to your original plan. Being flexible and open to new ideas is key, even if at first they seem strange or quite unimportant. And finally, what you can do is talk to people. You can be lucky by talking to different people with different ideas. A conversation can lead to a new idea or an opportunity that you never expected. Really, to make serendipity, we have to create the space for it. We have to be curious. We have to be expanding our knowledge and our opportunities. So, my question for you is, on our listener spotlight this week, my question is, tell me about a time when you were lucky or had serendipity. It's a harder question this week, but if you have an answer, I would love to hear it. I asked this question to some students a number of weeks ago, and I have two answers that I want to read you. The first said, I was looking for a book on a specific topic, but I couldn't find it. By accident, I found a completely different book on a new topic that I loved even more. This was my serendipitous discovery. That's a great example of finding something that you didn't know you needed. You looked for something else, but you found something even more amazing. I had another comment in from someone in Germany, and they said, I was looking for a new job in a specific industry. I met someone at a coffee shop who was working in a completely different field. He told me about an open position in his company. I applied and I got the job. It was a very fortunate meeting. That is a fantastic real-life example of serendipity. Meeting someone and getting an opportunity. One of my former colleagues always said, if you're out there, the luck will come. And it's a simple phrase. It means if you put yourself in the position for it, then you will have more luck. If you're out there, the luck will come to you. So today we have learned about this wonderful concept of serendipity. It was probably new for you, and I hope that it was interesting and that you've learned a couple of new words. If you'd love to support the Patreon and get extra episodes, etc., do check out that link in the description below. And if you haven't yet checked out my new phrasal verb book, you can also find it in the link below and pick up a copy of the ebook online. Thank you so much for listening and for all your support, for the wonderful comments, and for really listening and being here on this show every week. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.